Hey traders, hope you guys are well. So I just want to show you guys the actual breakout mode of this liquidity sweep EA because it has two modes. It has a liquidity sweep mode and it has a normal breakout mode. So the liquidity sweep mode is the inverse breakout mode. So I'm just going to show you the regular breakout mode. As you can see, I've optimized it for the best settings here. There's a big cluster of good settings here for the breakout EA. So this is the beauty of MetaTrader 5, where you can actually run an optimization over several months, several years, and get the best settings for the robot. Okay, so I've just run this optimization over the past four or 5 months, and you can see this is the best settings for the actual robot. So it gives the correct stop loss to use, take profit points, trailing trigger, trailing distance, trailing step. It says here not to use the limit entry. It's giving a pivot length of 16. I just want to show you this actual indicator, or the liquidity sweep, is based off this over here. So the liquidity sweep is basically the indicator is based off this type of indicator, not this exact indicator, but this liquidity swings by Lux Algo. This is very similar how the indicator works on the EA. So this is basically looking at liquidity levels in the market. As you can see today, there was a liquidity level above here, and it just swept that liquidity level, and then the price reversed. So it gives liquidity levels on all the different time frames. So it's pretty handy. I use it for day trading and all of that. Pretty handy for that. So as you can see, we've got a liquidity level sitting here. It gives you the number and everything. You can adjust the pivot length. So that looks back on the amount of candles. So I've got it set at 42 over there. We can adjust the labels to normal. Now you can see it gives you the amount of liquidity resting above and below the levels over there. This one will still give us a liquidity amount later. But this robot's basically built off the exact same thing. That's what the indicator it uses for the breakout mode and for the liquidity sweep mode. But with the liquidity sweep mode, it also uses a parabolic SAR for the actual entry. You can see here it's got the parabolic SAR built in. So I'll just run you over. We'll just do a quick single test on this based on these settings. So we'll just see how it does. As you can see, starting balance of 1,000. We'll do this quickly and then we'll do a visual mode test just so you can see how the robot actually works in the visual mode. So as you can see, it goes up, then goes sideways a bit, then it makes a big leap in the equity, because this is how trading works. You get sideways periods and then profitable periods. So if we look at the back test, you can see over 3 or 4 months it's made a total net profit of $1,700. Okay, so obviously the account has grown to, so the account would have grown to $2,700. Overall drawdown on that breakout mode of 10%, which isn't bad. So the biggest profit trade was $140. Average loss trade is 38. Average win is 76. Profit factor of 2.13. So now let's just look at the visual mode quickly, and I'll just show you exactly how the robot actually functions in visual mode. Okay, so this is the visual mode test. So with the breakout mode, it won't be using the parabolic SAR, but so you can ignore the parabolic SAR dots. It's only going to be using the liquidity level. So you can see the bottom liquidity level has been plotted. It's based upon 16 candle look back. We can see that the As you can see, M15 time frame. So you'll see now it'll plot a liquidity level to the upside. Yeah, there we go. We've got our liquidity level to the upside. Now you'll see price has broken out. Now it closed above the liquidity level. So now, as you can see, I'll just slow it down. You can see there's a stop loss set. Okay, and there's a take profit set all the way up there. Now the reason why the take profit is so far away is because this robot utilizes a trailing stop. So it basically, the trailing stop acts as a break even, and it also acts as a trailing stop as price moves into profit. So it maximizes on your winners. So if you have a trailing stop, you don't really need a break even feature. I'm going to show you guys later as well. You can actually use this robot to be a scalper as well. Just by changing the settings on it, you can also use it as a scalper. So you can use it for liquidity sweeps, breakouts, and for scalping. As you can see, price has just plotted a new liquidity level, but that will be ignored because this robot only takes one trade at a time. That's how it's set. Because it's looking back on the last 16 candles, it's plotted a new liquidity level, but it won't take a trade based on that because it's already in a trade. As you can see, price is moving. Now price should trail the stop pretty soon. Okay, there you can see it's trailed the stop. Now how the trailing stop works is, I'll just take you back to the settings here quickly. So here are the trailing stop settings over here. So we look at this, it's got a trailing stop set to true. Now the trailing stop will trigger at 4,800 points in profit. What that'll do is it'll move the trailing stop up into profit, but it'll be 4,300 points away from price, from the current price. Okay, so that'll move it just above break even to begin with, and then the trailing step it'll trail the stop loss as price goes a further 650 points into profit. So as price moves 650 points more into profit, it'll trail 4,300 points behind price. So it's got a pretty lagging trailing stop, and that's the way you want it. Because if your trailing stop is set too tight, you'll get stopped out pretty often on the trailing stop for a very small profit. So you want your trailing stop to lag behind quite a bit, but not too much at the same time. So you'll see that. So it trails the stop quite far away from price, which is a good thing if you want to maximize on massive winners, which are going to bump up your equity greatly. So you can see price has just trailed again. Now you'll see as price goes up, it trails the stop. You don't see the stop now because the liquidity line's above it or on it. As you can see, price trailing the stop. Equity is at $70 or so. Now, if the trailing step, as I said, if the trailing stop was set too tight, we would have already been stopped out. So this is trailing quite far behind the price, which is a good thing. Okay, so there we go. But you'll see later on it takes a lot of full winners, so it actually hits the TP because it's got that breathing room on the trailing stop. Okay, so let's see downside. So on the downside now, we've got a breakout to the downside. Okay. Now you'll see, I think this one we get stopped at. And there we go, we get stopped out, but then at the same time we get put into a breakout to the upside. And you'll see this breakout works quite nicely. You can see price is pushing up. The trailing stop will be activated soon. There we go. There we go. Trailing stop is moving up. Trailing stop is moving up. Now, this might have been a full winner. See, that's why I gave let's optimize the robot to give the trailing stop a nice bit of breathing room. And there we go. Bang, there's a full winner. So as you can see, the account's already grown to $1,150. Now, what I've noticed about this robot is it's working really well on gold on the breakout mode for the buy side. So literally all the losses that it took were based on the sell side breakouts. So I'm going to add in a buy only and a sell only in the breakout mode, which may help for pairs that trend up like the Nasdaq and gold. So it only takes buy breakouts. Or in markets that are going down, it'll only take sell breakouts. As you can see, this trade goes sideways for quite a while. Okay, there we actually got stopped out of that one. Stopped out of that one for the sell side. Yeah, but now I think this was a really nice winner. This is a bar breakout that's taken now. As you can see, boom, boom. And that was a full winner. So we're back up to just shy of $1,200. What I also thought was for the we could use the liquidity mode for the sell side, so that it takes liquidity sweeps on the sell side, and then and we can run the robot separately on another gold chart, in the breakout mode, and then on another chart on gold with the liquidity sweep mode running. But the liquidity sweep mode, we only look at the sell side liquidity sweeps, because as you can see, our gold is sweeping liquidity on the sell side and then moving up. Okay, so we could take advantage of that the sell side liquidity sweeps, and then take advantage of the buy side breakouts. So, I mean, you can run the EA you can have two separate gold charts up. You can drag and drop the robot onto one chart, and you set it up for the breakout mode. And on the other chart, you could set it up for the liquidity sweep mode. So you can actually run it in two separate modes on two separate charts. So that was a full winner over there. So, instead of you manually backtesting your strategy, I mean, you could code your strategy like this, or code a strategy that you like, and you can actually go through a visual mode backtest, get a good optimization on it, which is going to give you a good starting point to get the right settings for the robot on a particular pair. And then you could actually visually look at the strategy in the visual mode, and you can see, okay, what can I improve on here? What should I tweak a bit? Should I run it? As you can see, I've already noticed I need to run the robot purely on breakouts to the buy side. Just by looking at the backtest results, you can see all the breakouts are working to the buy side very, very well. Okay, but you'll see when it takes a sell side breakout, see another buy side breakout, perfectly massive winner. Now here's a sell side breakout. This one might, as you can see, we got stopped out on the sell side breakout, but look at this. If we had the liquidity sweep bot running on another gold chart, this would work really well for that liquidity sweep. So this is how you can diversify your robots. This would have been a massive winner on the liquidity sweep, in the liquidity sweep mode. Okay, there's another breakout here. Wonderfully, it's working on the breakout mode. on the buy side for gold. The sell side setups are, some of them do work. I think it was like 50-50, but we'll look at the back test, and there's another buy side one that worked out. I think that the sell side one actually won. Oh, there we go. There's a sell side one that it took that actually won. Small winner. So it does work on the sell side, but the big winners are actually coming from the buy side. Here we go. There's another sell side winner. Okay, but let's just run this to the end of the back test quickly. If you just watch the equity, it does bounce around. We just look at the equity here, but overall, at the end of the 4 months, it makes money. You can see we're already up to $2,700 in equity. I mean, 2,400. Okay, so that's the back test done in visual mode. Let's look at the back test results. If we just look at the long trade percentage one, okay, we've actually got 50% winners on the, well, the total trades, if we look here, we're 81. Short trades won 54%, and long trades won 50%. Yeah, so it's actually not doing too badly on the sell side either. Maybe we just needed to watch more of the trades. But I'd personally probably only run it if you can clearly see gold is in a bull run, you know, then just have it set on the breakout mode on the buy side. But as I said, you can also run this as a scalper, so we can basically just come in to the settings here and we can just pretty much turn off the trailing stop. Okay, so we can just set that to false, and then we could maybe set this at, so we can leave it the same and just have a take profit of, say, 500 points. Okay, now if we run it in breakout mode as a scalper, let's have a visual look at what that would look like. Okay, let me change the chart here. Okay, so now we'll see how it performs as just a scalper. Now you'll see that the take profit will be small and it'll have like quite a wideish stop loss. I mean, you can set the stop loss to equal as the take profit, but you'll have to just play around the settings, play around with the settings, or run an optimization on it to get good settings to scalp. You can also just, instead of setting a take profit, you can have a trailing stop set. So it'll maximize on winners. So it'll trail the stop at a certain distance, lock in profits, scalping profits, and then if price continues to move, it'll maximize on winners. So that's the beauty of these EAs. You can also, with the trailing stop, can maximize actually on the scalps. Okay, so there we go. You can see here, it's got a stop loss set, but it's got a tiny take profit set. And you can see over here, 90% of the time it'll hit that take profit. Price may play around for a while, but you'll see, bang, it'll hit that take profit. Now, this is the kind of thing you can do. So as you can see, it's got a little take profit, bang, it's hit that take profit. As you can see with the equity, it's making about $5 per trade. So you can just let it run the scalping mode. You could also just, as I say, set a smaller take profit, or maybe set the stop loss a bit tighter, so you could have the stop loss maybe half the distance of that over there. There we go. There's another scalp right over there. So that's 3 wins in a row. Here we go, here's another one, 4 wins in a row. You know, and you could literally set this thing as a scalper, come into settings here and just change this lot size to, you know, half a lot or something like that, or something, you know, depending on your account size, you could set it to 0.05 or something. So instead of it making $5 a trade, it'll make $50 a trade. You know, but then your account has to be big enough to handle that. What I did play around with as well was I put a martingale feature into the robot, which basically meant that if the robot took a loss, it would have a martingale feature which basically doubles. It has a lot multiplier, so you can double the next lot size, or you can 5x it, or you can 10x that lot size. So if it takes a loss, the next trade it'll 5x the lot size. And that usually, because it's got such a high win rate, the next trade would hit the take profit and make the previous loss back, because it's multiplied that the lot size by 5 or 10 or whatever you've set it to. So that's like a really aggressive way of scalping as well. If you want to use, I can add a martingale feature into this. Pretty easy to do it. Also, it resets the martingale after a win. So that's what I had it set to, but I wasn't using this strategy. It was a different strategy. So after a win, it'll reset the martingale back to the lowest lot size. Yeah, let's see what it does. Let's see if we get another winner. Yeah, there we go. That was another winner. We didn't even see that one. It happened so quick. Okay. Then we get a sell side. There we go. We get a sell side. There we go. There's another quick scalp. They've already made $130. I mean, $30 off those like 6 trades. And obviously, we're using the smallest lot size. So, you know, if it was 5 times the size, we could have made it easily about 1,300 or whatever already. But yeah, guys, I might be putting this EA up for sale, because it's a very good EA I think to actually use and utilize. I will be adding in like a timer. I'll add in that martingale feature, which are true and false, so you can either have it on or off. You know, I'll add in little things like that. I'll add in the buy only, sell only for the breakout mode and for the inverse mode. So there's all sorts of things. But if you guys that I can add in here, if you guys are interested in the EA and want to, maybe look into getting it, just hit me up on Telegram and we can start arranging, if you do want to take advantage of it. I can have it right. Currently I have this version for MT5. I can build one for MT4 as well, if you prefer MT4. But preferably, you get a lot better results with the optimizations and stuff on MetaTrader 5, because it goes quite deep on the optimizations and the back testing. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Have a great week ahead, and cheers.